Yeah, all right, let's get back to the show. Shout out Umu Bingos. Let us hear Chioma Amaryllis. Sorry, Chioma Amaryllis. Thank you for joining, my sister. Thank you for joining.
Catching my brother, I greet you,
I greet you.
Alasik, and everybody else that is waiting and not going to sleep because of me. Thank you for being here. So I'm
Appreciate
going
you.
to answer the question first. Marginalized or mispositioned? Um, I think that by the end of this room, what I'm hoping that we'll be able to achieve is number one, an articulation of what the word marginalization actually means. One of the reasons why it has been very challenging for Umubingo and all of their different iterations and factions to be able to have an international conversation about Biafra and this idea of marginalization is because when you define marginalization, it has to do with you systematically and systemically preventing a particular group, in our case, ethnicity, tribe, from attaining certain things. You can't have certain conversations. Like if they wanted to choose their economic, their political and social trajectory, you would kind of crush it with the system. That is what marginalization would be. You are depriving them of having certain things. One of the reasons why it has been very challenging and why we always resort to all these Christian persecution is because when you look at it, number one, you are a major tribe. I know on this stage one day somebody said we were a minor tribe, but we are not. If you go to the southeast, you have already self-determined by leading yourselves. There is no southeast state that is being run by outsiders. Every single person, from the governors to your council member, is an Igbo person. Okay, so it means that in your region, in your zone, within the 5 states that you govern, there is no system, i.e., Nigeria. I want to call it contraption, I want to call it zoo, but it is not preventing you from doing anything. It means that when you want to elect your leaders, nobody's telling you that you need to, put a Fulani person in charge or put, what am I even saying? As an NBC person, I can't go to Ebonyi State and go and be governor there unless I really have business there, right? So these are the things that make these conversations become confusing, because in the past 10 years, or maybe let's be more historically accurate, in the past 26 years, these conversations around Biafra and Etiokwo here, Etiokwo here, if you put one leg in Nigeria, and you get appointments, Obasanjo will give you appointments, but you'll be on one side saying, oh, we want Biafra, we want to mass up everywhere, we want to scatter everywhere, we want our freedom, we want to be liberated, marginalization. Meanwhile, Ebrule, all of the appointments, where they no be say that they give you any ntachiri something, and then you give like very wask, very solid appointments. You no complain. In fact, they even allow you, make you they do your masop, they join, decide. Nobody hold you, nobody tell you to stop. Then fast forward that 16 years of PDP. You didn't remember that you were marginalized. In fact, when you were giving the votes to PDP without negotiating, because clearly it's basically like black people and being a Democrat. It's like if you do not negotiate with leverage, again, pain points are not leverage. I know you feel aggrieved and how you feel, but if you do not have leverage and you carry your votes as a block and you continue to give a particular party, and then you're not diversifying, you are not scattering your people where we say, you we don't claim, say you be Republican, you be egalitarian by nature. You pack all your team, put them for one side. When everybody they enjoy with their appointments, when they get all these our high people, their appointment, nobody complained about marginalization. Okay? Then good Jonathan comes and say, free, oh yeah, You get an appointment, you get an appointment, you get an appointment, you get money everywhere. Money, money, money. That time when you go to Nigeria as an Igbo person, no more, you go call this minister, call this contract, no na wakasa. Nobody remembered what we were doing. We're doing, but it's not enough, Sha. We still want freedom. Still want marginalization. We are still marginalized. We still want self-determination. And I call that condemn. 99% of the people in this room, if you ask them how they are marginalized, I'm not going to mention him because now it's going to feel like he can go back and forth with me, but that's not going to happen. We wasted the past 20 minutes here going in circles. It is because the average Igbo person who's born in the past 3 decades has a different conversation in their head about what is real or not. So let me now elevate the point he was trying to make but failing woefully in. The fact that you have diversity and you have upward mobility as an Igbo person to go to any place in Nigeria is a leverage. It's just a leverage that you have not reasoned well, articulated well, positioned well, packaged well to use to spread your wings. Instead, what you're doing is forgetting that there is no other tribe in Nigeria that has done one Nigeria more than us. Yes, that is accurate. However, your conclusion is flawed because you forget that the fact that you as an Igbo person, as Onyem Mbise, if you want to sell slippers, open factory for Mbise, they say no, you go to Owerri, they say no, you go to Ebony in Asemba, Ije Port Harcourt, Ije Asaba, Ije Lagos. There's no other tribe in Nigeria that does that. There is no other tribe in Nigeria that does that. There's no other tribe. So when you're having a conversation about marginalization, oh, we are marginalized, give us Biafra, we are marginalized. They ask you, do you have what is self-determination for you to determine your political, your economic, and your social? Economically, how are you restricted? One of the people who is running to be the president from the Igbo extraction, the Southeast extraction rather, is a billionaire in dollars. How did he make his billions? Through business, through logistics, through all of that stuff, right? One of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Dame Umoji, is the CEO of Zenith Bank, okay? She's not the only one, okay? You have Igbo people at very choice positions right now. You've stricken out what? You've stricken out political, right? Because you are governing yourself. You've stricken out economic, because there is no strata, okay, in Nigeria currently that's, in fact, the only way you are going to be marginalized is if you are poor. That's why sometimes I'm saying, fix the generational obiami in your family first, so that we'll know where we'll be laying our hand. So we'll know if the marginalization is specific to your family, specific to your status in life, okay, and your economic status, or if it has something to do with the systemic. The only people who are truly marginalized in Nigeria are poor people. If you're poor in Nigeria, you suffer from a systemic marginalization because you're being deprived of certain things that no matter how much you struggle, money no go enter. So you as an Igbo person who's from Umbise, you are not more marginalized than somebody who is in Kogi State, somebody who's in maybe not Sokoto, Kano, all of those that countries, states. Why? Because that thing you're thinking is marginalization specific to you by tribe is not. Somebody talked about how we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ethnicities. You forget that Hausa people actually wow. I don't say they look you like say once when I see everybody from the north, they look. You know how many tribes they there? I think the homogeneity of Igbo people, because we are in Southeast in this little dot of a nation, like I think we are getting it twisted, like say as a major tribe. Now because we be major tribe, and when they are no, you get some tribes where I don't hear them before, but I don't even know say they exist. You get some languages you go here. Those people never even get opportunity to get one appointments. Okay, so most of the time, it is the Biafra rhetoric that has mixed up with this sort of victimhood mentality. And I don't know where the spirit of bingoism started, but on my watch, I will use shelters and shelters all of it. Because you don't have to be a bingo to partake. because that thing now ban oboro. And I do get something. Get out she now marginalize the get na coin get one and Zik, get one as no law unizik. We don't give a none of that. We don't care. How are you being marginalized? Ichoi mama marginalization and me. Omo follow me to Banana Island, man. The only marginalization there is if your tax bracket is not tax bracketing, you not go enter into that motherfucker. But if you get money, also kwage wuru Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, if you like be from Kentucky, they go give you land. They go give you land. Say this one at 500 million. Ijiego, Ijiokpogo, Ijiowo, bring it. What we have seen is so much of the poverty that is systemic in Nigeria has made it whereby our people now think non kanjo. Obronkai kanjo. Now we're not doing comparison or dick measuring contest. Yeah, say your own is smaller than mine. No, we're not doing any of that. What I'm saying is that if we focus on the things where we gain by being inside Nigeria, not as a, oh, it started from the foundation, it started, what don't happen, we say it don't happen. You cannot write that part. But if you keep repeating the talking points that make war your stance, where we say, you know, clock in your head, say, if inside Nigeria in 2026, you they shout Biafra, Biafra, it is an act of war. And because you keep saying Biafra, Biafra, everybody go forward, they go forward, go to negotiate with leverage for that table. Go and right here and I say, they must come and sit with me at the table and stick to me eyeball to eyeball. I get Kurugi from Sokoto prison, and all of us will be here, and nothing will change. So, if you want to think about marginalization, think about it: is this a family problem? Is this a personal problem? Do I feel marginalized because I'm poor? Because as a graduate, I don't have a job. If you are from the southeast of Nigeria now, I'm going to wrap with this one point, and just give me 1 minute and 60 seconds to wrap this up. If you graduate, just think about the scale so you can understand the marginalization argument a little bit more, specifically. If you're a graduate in Nigeria, went to a school in the southeast of Nigeria, and you graduated from any of the universities or tertiary institutions, what that means is that there's not enough companies, organizations, industries to insulate the graduating class. So what that means that if you go to Unizik, for example, and you major in computer science, there's not going to be a lot of tech hubs in the southeast to give you that job or to make you get the job. What are you going to do? You're going to have to find a job elsewhere. The burden is on all of us. How do you make the southeast more industrialized? If you're saying that it is because the federal government is preventing you from doing so, then I will counter with, is there any state in the southeast that does not receive allocations? I am from Abia State and Imo State, and we even get the one for oil and gas on top. Okay? Is there any Enwafibo? If Obi wants to build a factory in Agolo, is anybody going to prevent him from doing it? The word is no. But why? He's a billionaire. Okay, his businesses will thrive in Lagos because he's in logistics, so he goes to where he will thrive. So apply that same mentality and the same argument, you realize that diversity that you want us to now see as marginalization, as a negative, can actually be a positive to help us position ourselves. So we are not mispositioning, we are not misaligning, we are not. It's not when APC goes, anybody who votes APC or talks about APC, you call them Fulani, Janjaweed, 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 and then you will not be shouting about appointments. Because if you don't know that, know this now. In the whole of America, I'm talking about this America you love so much, in the Trump cabinet, there are no Democrats there, okay? When you get into power, when you reach your turn, because if I come to your Umunna meeting now and say, there, you will say no, that I'm not from that Umunna. Okay, that is how there is no person who will get a cabinet that they do not trust, that they cannot control. And for the most part, for all of the appointments that we have gotten, we have done nothing with it. And I'm going to end my points here until the mic passes around. Thank you.
Thank you, Chioma. I could just recap a few things where you said there. I'm going to start with the one where I disagree with first, obviously. I don't know if you mentioned, you said it just in passing anyway. I don't know if you really believe that, but you said the dot.
Thank you, Chioma. Thank you, Chioma.
All right,
Thank you,
please,
Chioma.
please, mute yourself. No, unmute yourself, just so that we don't get I don't want to have a rowdy house, but thank you. I'm going to start with the one I disagree with. First, you mentioned dot nation. I don't know if you really believe that. That was more of like an insult when Buhari used that term, at the time.
But it is geographically, you are landlocked.
Yeah, we are landlocked, absolutely. But when you now minimize it and trivialize it, and not you, but him, when he used that, that was a
yeah. But I mean, I
that was a
Buhari,
jab.
but
That was a jab.
Yeah, that was oh no, that was an absolute jab, and it was a jab at that whole Biafran thing.
Yeah,
and you know how angry he was, of course. But at this point, I think we've passed this Rubicon of like political correctness at this point, and I figured, oh, why you want not here? You got to like now I get it. So I won't backtrack there, but I won't double down either. So what I'm gonna say is this: geographically, what that means is landlocked. But of course, in the context that he used it, it could have been taken to be a jab or something to just make you like, just to push that pin inside your chest.
And that pin, they pin me. I no go lie.
Yes, yeah. And that's like you would say, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Fair enough. Thank you. But anyway, I just wanted to put that one out there. Yeah, the dot nation on, yeah, we're landlocked. Absolutely. You don't need I don't know who doesn't know that we're landlocked, but it's just what it is. But anyway, just to recap a few things you said there. You said, being able to move around in Nigeria as in Igbo, going around doing business is a leverage. And we need to leverage on that and use it positively instead of complaining about it. We are the most patriotic Nigerians. But instead of us to take it as a leverage, instead we complain about them. It's just ridiculous. That's a good point there. You also mentioned only poor people in Nigeria, are truly marginalized. You cited Banana Island. The only thing where they get one black guy they follow for Instagram. Hope, what's his name now? Hope something. I forget his last name. But anyway, he's a financial person. He always talks about the only color that matters is green. Hope shit. Anyway, Hope something is his name. He says the only color that matters is green. So, that's just to put on the point you said there. Only poor people in Nigeria are marginalized. When you go to Banana Island, no matter where you come from, as long as you get the 500 million to buy land, that's all they're looking at there. Absolutely. And we need to also focus on the things we gain as being Nigerians, which is also, the liberty as Nigerians to move around, go wherever we want, do business, start up any type of business we want. We need to leverage that instead of every day talking about marginalization. Nobody is stopping us from being great in Nigeria. Nobody. Literally nobody. And you also mentioned all Southeast states receive their allocations. Absolutely. Including the ones where they collect 13% derivation. Absolutely. Tinubu know they withhold our money because we be Igbo people. No. As a matter of fact, no president has done that. The only president we don't do him now, Obasanjo, and guess who in do him against? In brother Tinubu. So what is this? And Yoruba people no shout marginalization. No, they understood na politics. Na so it be. They understood that, and they kept it moving. They did what they had to do and came out of that. Guess who's the president now? Tinubu, right? So it's just what it is. But anyway, thank you again, Chioma, for sharing your thoughts on the topic. I appreciate that. All right, make we go back. I think